Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to another Precious Metal Ramble, where we have down-to-earth discussions about all things precious and shiny. And investing in precious, shiny things is really good. I've made a lot of money, at least on paper anyway. I haven't sold the vast majority of my investments in gold and silver because I'm enjoying the ride, so to speak. But they have somewhat been dwarfed in today's economy. You have to do that thing with the hands. Today's economy, because we're all after a quick buck. Well, that's the way I observe the world, not just of investing, but now seemingly in gold and silver. Have we lost our way a little bit as investors, as collectors, as stackers? Has collecting now just become the next investment cycle? Whether it be Pokemon cards or whether it be collectible numismatics or items like these that you can buy at the World Money Fair. And I was literally at this fair in 2024. Somebody in front of me in the line went to the front, took a photo of the coin, popped it on eBay in the queue, had it sold at a profit before he'd even bought the coin at the front of the queue. Is that losing something special, or is that just kind of market capitalism, making a quick buck? Is that really what we're all about? You know, some people, yeah, that is what it's all about for them. But as I said in a video that I did last week showing my Queen's Beast collection, it is about the long haul, the long term for me. It's about holding wealth, about storing wealth, about creating wealth over a long period of time. And this is what silver and gold are best at. But I do have some observations about this economy that we're in, this collector, almost hype economy. And I am deliberately getting the gold backs out when I say this, because with the introduction of the quarter gold backs now, we are seeing more and more people just falling for really high premium items that are billed as utilitarian items that will have utility in the future, but ultimately are just really, really high premium items that you have to really think hard of an exit strategy of how to actually get a return on it. So there's a whole host of different things that we can talk about. It's not just that. There are plenty of different investment scams and investment concerns that you should be aware of if you're getting into the world of gold and silver, because unfortunately it is the time-old tale of anything to do with money. There will inevitably be a market scam for it. And we can kind of, as a human species, trace this back thousands of years, but there's a really good, if you've never heard of the tulip market, market boom and bust of the Netherlands, I think it was, in like the 1600s. I can't remember the exact one. I'd have to look up the exact data about it all. But basically there was a tulip market where people would be speculating on tulips and the different bulbs, and the markets got so big, and somebody at some point along that chain gets left holding the bag, and then the market collapses. And it happens all the time in different markets, whether it be stocks, shares. Are we seeing a little bit of that right now in silver and gold? To a degree, yes. We saw that already happen in January when prices went really high and then fell down. I bet you there's quite a lot of people who are sitting on kilo silver bars that they were buying off eBay at £3,500 a kilo. That's what I heard and saw. And in fact, I did a video about it. If I just kept all the kilos of silver that I've bought over the years and not chopped them up and melted them down for my own poured silver, I would literally have made £1.7 million rather than the measly sums I made during my business operating. So yeah, there are a whole host of different problems with this mentality that we have. And I guess the mentality is the thing that really we need to address here. So I think the big shift and change has really been accelerated because of the digital age. I think we're in this now post, well, it's not even post-COVID. It happened before, of course, with the monetization of the internet and people being able to reach a wider audience, the globalization of the kind of global village now that we are all in, where we can all just, you know, get in touch with each other immediately. I can list a coin for sale and I can have it sold to somebody in deepest, darkest Peru. Never actually had a customer from deepest, darkest Peru, but I've had customers from outer Mongolia, believe it or not. There is one customer of the BYB brand that is in Mongolia, which is, I think, really cool. But still, it points to this interconnectedness that we have, that we can sell things all around the world to different people, and there is always going to be a buyer of something somewhere. And I did the video not that long ago about the fractional stuff, how I really am not a massive fan of like things, products like this. You know, it's 25 milligrams, it's 0.25 of a gram of gold. It's worth about £1.80, I think I did the maths of. So really, garbage product considering it's being sold for like 5 times its melt price. But people buy it because people think that perhaps they're going to make some money on it. But realistically, the only people who are making money on that kind of a product are the people who make it and retail it. And therein lies the biggest shift that I've seen in, I suppose we've got this global digitalization, we've got this global interconnectedness, and then we've got people with money. And there is the problem. People with money, and maybe a little bit too much money sometimes. Now, listen, it can be a bit of a rabbit hole, gold and silver. We can certainly see the fruits of our labours over time, and you can also see that collectibles tend to do quite well over time as well. Different collectibles will have different benefits, and we'll see different coins doing better than others, for example. But people get caught up in it very quickly and easily, and it doesn't take a lot to change your outlook from a slow and steady collector to making a quick buck. I've been there. So I'll refer back to my Queen's Beast collection. When I was starting out, and it was more of a means to help me collect them rather than it was a means to get rich quick. But I would, for example, on the 1/4 ounce gold Queen's Beasts, they were quite expensive. I mean, I say quite expensive. At the time, they were about £450. Of course, now they're very much more expensive, just in spot price alone, closing in on £950. But back then, that was a lot of money for me and Mrs. Backyard Bullion to commit to these. So what we would do is we'd buy 3 of them, and then I'd flip 2 of them and keep 1 of them, because I could flip the 2 that I was able to get as spares and usually make around £100 to £200 per coin. And if I made, say, the average £150 a coin, it would make the 1 coin that I had left over essentially only cost us about a third of its price, maybe a little bit more or less, depending on the type of the coin and what I got out of it. And so we did that for the first, I think it was like 6 issues. And I think for the last 4 issues of that series, I've now got 2 of each of them because I only flipped 1 of them at the time. I still got 3, flipped 1, kept 2. So you can see the evolution there in me. I didn't necessarily do it to sort of get rich quick in that sense. I did it just to help me stack a little bit more. So that is definitely a thing that you can do. But there's always this thing in the back of my head, which is, do you really need to flip to make all of this extra cash? For me, I could have at many times during my stacking journey just really embraced the flipping mentality. But actually, of the last couple of years, I've really settled down into just thinking, actually, do you know what? Quite happy with what I've got, quite happy with how it's performing, quite happy just to sit here and hold. There's a phrase in the investment community, diamond hands. And in fact, if we're going to get down that road into investment communities, we've got to talk about things like Wall Street bets and hype hysteria and the role of social media in all of this as well, because it does play a big role. And I think that's one of the things that we've seen shift in our society that has meant people are after a quick buck. But unfortunately, the desire to make a quick buck is part of the problem as to what makes people vulnerable. And there is a lot of vulnerability in this community, unfortunately. Your average silver or gold investor and stacker is going to be somebody of a older generation, usually 40s to 50s. You just look at my YouTube analytics and you'll see that my average age of viewer is, or my demographic is male, aged 45 plus. That's the majority. There are younger people in there, but the majority are 45 plus. And unfortunately, your average stacker who's maybe looking to put some money down for their retirement, they've got some disposable income put to one side, they're able to do this, they are suddenly in this vulnerable category, in my opinion. And there are plenty of different, quite predatory companies out there that will embrace that element of it. And there are plenty of examples that I'm not able to name because they're not doing anything illegal. But if they're trying to sell you something, this is the thing. If anyone's trying to ever sell you something, think about why they are selling you something. They're trying to sell you something because they're going to make some money on it, right? So one of the reasons that I don't, and I haven't for a very long time, touted, in fact I don't think I really ever touted my own bits of poured silver. Of course I'm a business, and when I make bits of my own silver and sell them, I have the product releases and I say people, look, here we go, we've got products available. But I don't sit here and I don't go, you have to go and buy my poured silver, it's the best thing that you're ever going to buy, it's an investment, it's amazing, blah blah blah. I just let it sell itself, and I almost let myself sell myself, because I don't need to sell to people. And if you do things right in business, things will always come. The business will always come. The customers will come. The natural flow of it will come. But if you're pushing someone, if you're actively trying to sell them a brand or an idea or a product, then just, if you're being sold to, step back and think, hang on a second, what's really going on here? Because it's very likely that things might have ulterior motives. And I've had some right horror stories come through our desk. We've had there was a chap who was taken for £250,000 by a company that I shall describe as just pure shite. Pure shite. We shall call them Pure Shite Company. So Pure Shite Company would quite happily sell, they're the kind of company that will sell you MS69 Bullion Britannias for like double the price of the gold content, and try and sell you that they're premium items in pristine condition. It's a load of bollocks and pure shite, quite frankly. So those kind of companies that will advertise themselves as having brokers with instant access to the markets and able to give you up-to-date live quotations. You don't need to have that access to the market, live quotations. It's gold and silver. It's a freaking commodity. You have it. You look on a bullion website, you can see plenty of different bullion dealers have it, and you can buy it. If someone says to you, you're going to get a quick buck, quick win from this, it's a big risk. And the problem is that gold and silver have moved so much now that these companies play into that. So one of the customers that I've had in the past that has been taken in a legal scam, I should probably do legal scam rather than put those around scam as well. But basically the way that this scam operated was that this company sold them a bunch of silver and gold. It was at those stupid high premiums, and then a couple of weeks later they came back and they offered him a buyout price of a higher price. So you think, hang on, Backyard Bullion, that can't be a scam because they've given him more money. But this is the confidence trick, isn't it? Because they then went back to him a couple of weeks after that and went, hey look, we've now got more stock in and it's gonna be big. And then that person put in even more money, and then, oh look, when gold went up and they came back, oh, well, the market's shifted, you see, and now premiums and blah, 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 and all of that. It's a load of shite. But people fall for it because people want to have that quick win, that quick buck. And where does that come from? Where does that desire really sit deep down within us? It's greed. It is greed, right? I can't think of any other explanation for it. There's some naivety, I suppose, as well. There's some confidence tricks in there as well. And it's difficult to break out of those cycles, especially if you've been emotionally manipulated, if you've been, there's a specific phrase for it, if you're being coached by someone. It's like emotional manipulation, psychological manipulation. It's really quite deep and dangerous, but it can be really difficult to step out from knowing if you're in scams. Confidence tricks are a big thing. But a lot of people fall for it, and they fall for it on everyday items, like fractional bits of silver and gold. And I don't want to hark on about this, but fractional silver is a joke. If you're buying 1 gram silver bars at like £10-20 a pop, which I've seen people selling on a well-known live auction platform, it's just a load of crap. I'm sorry, it's just a load of crap. Yeah, look, there's a market for these things, and if you go and if you're a seller of these things, great. If you're buying and then you're actively going to go and flip them and sell them, there's money to be made, and you can definitely think about doing that. Sure, you might be sort of semi-selling your soul because somebody on this chain, remember, is going to be left holding the bag. Is it going to be you at the top? No, you're going to try and find one more poor sod on top of you to sell to. That's all it is. You're finding one more poor sod. Is that really worth it? For a few bucks? I'm going to argue strongly no. It's something that I feel very strongly about. It's something I've felt strongly about for the decade that I've been making content here on YouTube. You look back at our videos all the way through our history, I've been calling out these kind of flagrant scams. I've been helping people source gold and silver at a reasonable price, whether it be back in our day when we did the group ordering from European dealers to beat the VAT, which is no longer a thing, or whether it's getting and arranging spot price deals from big well-known bullion dealers, promoting those big well-known bullion dealers like Charles, like Atkinson's. There are plenty of really, really good dealers like Tavex. There's loads of them that are really, really good, and you don't need to have pure shite to like have live access to the best trading brokers on Wall Street or whatever bollocks they're trying to sell you. It's just not right. It's just not real. It's not. If you want to invest in gold and silver, buy it for the right reasons, buy it slowly over time, and you will see those fruits of your labours. You don't need to flip. You don't need the next big fad. You don't. Collecting. Let's finish the video on that. So there is a niche for collecting, and I am a collector. I like collecting. Collecting is good. You can only buy so many silver Britannias or gold sovereigns, And ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want to start enjoying your silver and gold, you've got to understand the risks involved in it. So collecting is not investing. You are collecting an investable product, but you're not investing in a collectible product. You've got to think of it that way around. That's the best thing that you can take from this video. If you're going to be buying premium items, whether it be gold backs or whether it be Perth Mint special coloured coins, whether it be, I don't really have any other sort of major premium collectibles, but if you're paying premiums on things, they are collectibles. They are deemed as collectibles in my mind. If they are a bullion weight item, like these 2 kilos, they're 2 kilos of silver. Ultimately, there's the similar amount of weight and atoms worth of silver in terms of monetary value. They are very, very similar. But in terms of premium and collectability value, they are very, very different. You will get a much lower price if you sell this on the second-hand market than if you sell this. If you took both of these to an unscrupulous bullion dealer, they'd probably pay you the same. You might get a few quid more for this, but generally they'll just be like, it's a kilo of silver, here's your money, off you go. And then they'll be laughing their way to the bank when they find a buyer who will pay more for this kilo completer coin. So you've got to think of it like that. Just have an idea of where you're going to be taking your collection, your investments, and selling them. Now, my next video that I'm going to film is going to be all about exit strategies. So if you want to find out about how I plan to exit my gold and my silver, then stick around to the next video, subscribe. You can find a link down in the description box below. Otherwise, comment. What are your thoughts on this subject? It'd be great to hear what you've got to say. Thanks. We'll see you all on the next video. Cool kids. You thought I'd forgotten. I've forgotten a few times in the last couple of weeks, but you thought I'd forgotten. I deliberately got a silver bar with a serial number. We're going old school. Quote me that serial number down in the comment section and I will know that you are super cool. Thanks all for watching. We'll see you on the next video. As always, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.